Because quite frankly, you've just proved to all my listeners that you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. I just gave you the stats, literally, the data that was released in February from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm literally giving you my source. I want you to tell all of my listeners your source. Go ahead, Eddie. Tell us your source.
What up, pushing the live?
Okay, so let's talk about that, Eddie. As I always ask people to be on topic, but I'm going to make an exception for you, and I'm happy to give you the platform. I don't mind if people call me a liar, Eddie. I think you know me by now. But, Eddie, I want to give you the opportunity. Let's just start with today. What lies have I pushed? Can you please be specific, Eddie? And I think we can have a civil conversation. Eddie, what have I said today that's a lie? If you can, go ahead.
Egg prices, gas prices.
Yeah, so egg prices throughout the country are $8 for a dozen eggs. They were $4 late in the Joe Biden administration. So please explain to me how that is a lie. Also, inflation is up 0.2% since Donald Trump took office.
Wrong.
Okay, so where are you getting your information from?
It's called Google. You can use it too.
Okay,
yourself.
so what are egg prices right now, Eddie? I'm just asking you. Educate me.
Egg prices.
Yep.
Egg prices are down $2 a carton.
Okay,
Gas
so
is down 31
wait. So egg prices are down $2 a carton. So when Joe Biden left office, okay, no problem. So when Joe Biden left office, they were $4 a carton for a dozen eggs. So you're saying now the average price of eggs is $2 a carton?
I said it's down $2 a carton.
Okay, so let's do some math,
Gas
Eddie.
is down
Hold
31
on. We're going to go one by one, and I'm not going to hang up on you, Eddie. You just said across the country, since Donald Trump took office, egg prices are down $2. I just told you that the average price of eggs when Joe Biden left office was somewhere around $4. So, Eddie, what's 4 minus 2? You're making the claim it's down $2. 4 minus 2 is 2, last I checked. So you're claiming that the average price of eggs is $2. Eddie, all you have to do is a Google search to show yourself that the average price of eggs. Eddie, I need you to listen. We're still talking about eggs, then we'll get to gas. You just said egg prices are down $2. 4 minus 2 is 2. The average price of eggs across the country now is somewhere around $8. Now, last I checked, Eddie, 4 plus 4 is 8. So that's not minus 2. So I ask you again, Eddie, is your math a little off? Because you just said that egg prices are down $2 since Trump took office. That is not true.
That is true. We'll go to the next one.
I'm not. Okay, first of all, Eddie.
Gas prices are down.
No. You're not going to get away with that. You don't know what you're talking about. The average, I'm going to say it again, so maybe if I speak slowly, somebody like you can understand. Okay? The average price of eggs, I'm going to repeat myself, is somewhere around $8. Okay? Trump even admitted it the other day. Now, he blamed it on Joe Biden and the bird flu, but egg prices are not down. Okay? They're not down. You are 150% wrong. Okay? So either admit you're wrong and say, okay, I might be wrong on that one. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay? They were up in February 10.4%. I am reading it right now. I will read it for you verbatim. Prices for the staple rose 10.4% in February, even as overall inflation eased a little bit. And now inflation is back headed in the wrong direction after these tariff threats in March. So, Eddie, either you're going to admit you're wrong and you have absolutely no idea what you're talking about. As I just said, they're not down $2. Egg prices have risen since Donald Trump took office. Are you going to admit you're wrong and either you don't know what you're talking about or you're the liar? Which is it going to be, Eddie?
Inflation is down to 1.3%.
All right, pot him down again. The data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics showed that egg prices rose 10.4% since Donald Trump has took office. You can look that up if you don't believe me. Food prices broadly rose 0.2% in February or 2.8% compared to the same time last year. I'm literally reading the stats right now as we speak from the Bureau. Okay, I just read it for you. Okay, I'm reading it verbatim, the data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Where are you getting your information from, Eddie, with all respect?
Gas prices are down to
Eddie, I need you to answer my question because, quite frankly, you've just proved to all my listeners that you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. I just gave you the stats, literally, the data that was released in February from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm literally giving you my source. I want you to tell all of my listeners your source. Go ahead, Eddie. Tell us your source.
Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins.
Okay.
On Tuesday.
Okay.
Today, yesterday.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Down $2.
Egg prices.
God,
Okay.
you suck on these eggs.
Pot them down again. Eddie, down $2 from when? When Donald Trump took office or the last week? This is very important, Eddie, because you see, I'm talking about where they have gone from day one since Donald Trump took office. So they're down $2 from when, Eddie? That's kind of important. Eddie, did we
just down $2?
No. Eddie, Eddie, I need you to listen to my question, sir, and I'm going to speak very slowly. Down $2 from when? You see, when you say prices are down, you have to give a starting point. Are they down $2 since Donald Trump took office, or are they down $2 from a week ago? Eddie, can you please answer that very direct question, because it's kind of important?
Listen to me very carefully.
I
They're
am.
down $2.
From when? Listen to me very carefully. Down $2 from when? Answer the question.
Fucking idiot.
All right, there you go. There goes the ad hominem attack and the swear. Eddie, I think we proved once again that you're a complete imbecile. I think we know who the real idiot is in this conversation. You see, Eddie, when I say prices are down, it could be from 1955 or it could be from last week. The key, Eddie, is are prices down $2 with eggs from a week ago or from when Donald Trump took office? You see, Eddie, prices on eggs are up from the point when Donald Trump took office 7 or so weeks ago. I think we know who the idiot is, Eddie. The idiot is you. Prices might be down $2 from a week ago, but they're not down from when Donald Trump first took office. Thank you, Eddie, and thank you for proving to my listeners on PTL that you're another MAGA imbecile that doesn't know what the hell you're talking about. Go buy your eggs, Eddie, and throw them, crash them onto your face and have a nice day. So why is it that you're willing to comment on that not being there?
Some Democrats, some on the left, just looking for an excuse.
Okay, so some. You just said you can't comment on something unless you're there. So J.D. Vance over the weekend, yesterday, was in Cincinnati with his 3-year-old taking a walk. He knew that there were protesters out there. He takes a walk with them, and he said that people were screaming at his daughter and stalking his daughter. All the videos that have circulating online do not show that. He's a liar. Do you think J.D. Vance is the Jussie Smollett of 2025?
Hell no. First of all, they wouldn't let him answer. They just kept shouting over him. And
no, they were not. No, that's not true.
How come people on the left are always protesting and shouting and protesting
JD,
violently? And
JD, what happened on January 6th? Were those Democrats?
I'm not JD. I'm Gary.
I'm sorry, Gary. I got you wrong, Gary. You're not the one that's swearing at me. Gary, what happened on January 6th? Were those Democrats?
Oh, God. These are people that were brought up believing what Thomas Jefferson said. That
Gary, Gary, you said Democrat. Gary, you can't pivot. Gary, you can't pivot, Gary. I asked you a question. You said, why is it that Democrats are always, violently protesting and screaming? Gary, were those Democrats on January 6th? It's a very simple question, Gary. Go ahead.
I've been calling you for years and saying the same thing. You got crazies on both sides of the aisle.
But Gary, answer my question.
You're
Gary,
too partisan.
Gary,
you think
pot him down again. So, Gary, the question wasn't about Democrat protest. The question was specifically about J.D. Vance. It didn't appear to me in the videos that I saw that they were screaming over J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance called them an expletive. These were a bunch of grandmothers that were passionate in their views on Ukraine, and they should be. There was no stalking going on, Gary. So I need you to focus on this one issue. Do you believe what J.D. Vance said when he said that they were stalking his kid and yelling at his kid? There's not one video that shows that, and the protesters said that he was lying. Do you believe them or J.D. Vance?
I wasn't there unless I'm really there and see a lot of videos and stuff. I'm in no position.
You weren't there?
To say. Maybe I don't think the man's a liar. The man might.
So which Democrat? Hold on. So which protest? Okay, let's go with that. So Gary, which Democrat protest that?
I know I couldn't do that.
Which Democrat?
I definitely couldn't do that.
Gary, another question. Which Democrat protest were you at where you alleged that they were violent and screaming? Which one of those protests were you at? Can you tell us?
I haven't been to a protest. In fact, I've never been to a protest.
Okay, so Gary just said, so Gary, hear me out. You just said you can't comment on something unless you're there. You just said a few moments ago that Democrats are loud and shouting and aggressive and violent at protest. You just said you can't comment on something unless you're there. So, Gary, do you see your hypocrisy and would you like to retract? You just said you can't comment on it unless you're there, yet you just characterized all Democrats when they go to protest as violent and screaming and yelling. So why is it that you're willing to comment on that not being there?
Some Democrats, some on the left, just looking for an excuse.
Okay, so you just said you can't comment on something unless you're there. So you just said you've never been in a protest. So why do you comment then on Democrats? Now, I agree. On both sides, sometimes we see violent protesters. It seems to be happening a lot more on the right lately than the left. But why is it you're only willing to comment on it, even though you weren't there, if you're claiming Democrats are doing it? Why not be consistent and say, if you're not there, I'm not going to comment on it at all, which, by the way, I think is ridiculous. I wasn't there on January 6th, but we all saw the video and we all saw what happened.
You're asking the questions. I just know that when Bush was going to war in the Middle East, all the Democrats and lefties were protesting.
You weren't there, though, Gary. By your standards, Gary, have a nice day, by the way, Gary. I appreciate your call. You weren't there. I just proved you to be a hypocrite, and you just ate your own words. I'm not going to comment on that because I wasn't there when it comes to the right. But when it comes to the left, you have no problem criticizing Democrats that protest. You're a hypocrite, Gary, and you just got caught. And I'll also add by saying the protesters in Cincinnati, Ohio, were not screaming and yelling at J.D. Vance. They were passionate. They weren't violent. They weren't yelling at his daughter. They weren't chasing his daughter. They weren't harassing them. And J.D. Vance is a liar. And the fact that you can't say that shows me that you're complicit.
I just heard the conversation with the guy about Trump's the amount of money that was spent during his administration.
Mm-hmm.
And I recently read a thing from the Office of Management and Budget where Trump's actual expenditures were $6.5 trillion during his administration.
So that's not the number.
Biden's was 7.5.
No, that's not the number that I saw. I don't know what source you're reading that from, but
it's from the Office of Management and Budget.
The Office of Management and Budget. Okay,
Congressional Office of Management and Budget.
So by the numbers that you are claiming that Joe Biden got us more in debt in 4 years than Donald Trump, I've never heard that claim by even Republicans who have made that claim because it's not true. But you can gladly email me, and I will take a look at your source, and I will do my best to fact check it. But sometimes, unfortunately,
OMB.
Yeah, so that might entail. First of all, I would like to know what that entails and what the standards were and who came up with that report. But every report that I've read from multiple sources, which I've talked about on this show, is that Donald Trump got us $8.2 trillion in debt, and Joe Biden didn't even come close to that in the 4 years he was president. And even Nikki Haley brought that up when she was running for president, that Republicans have put up even four times more proposals that Republicans have put up, and the debt that they've got us in compared to Democrats as a whole, the history of this country.
Right. I mean, I understand, and I'm not trying to say, see what they got.
I understand.
I just got, I did read that.
I didn't say I didn't say you were doing that.
No, I know you did.
Yeah,
I wasn't. I just wanted to let you know I wasn't doing that.
I
mean, because I've read a lot of the same stuff that you've read when where it showed that Trump actually spent more money.
Right.
I mean, I know that COVID started under Trump, but I mean, the largest percentage of it was during the Biden administration.
Well, I would disagree with that characterization, but are you happy with Donald Trump's first 7 weeks in office?
Am I happy?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he's done a good job, or?
I'm cautious at this point. I think there's things that I'm satisfied with, and things that our country up until 1913 didn't have a personal income tax. It was we supported the country through tariffs.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know that much about tariffs. Other than family during Trump's previous administration where they had bought something from China.
Okay, so we can get into the weeds on that, but I just want to read you something, Lauren, now that I have you on the line. So Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis claimed that President Trump got us $8 trillion in debt. By the way, for the most part, these statements are true. Again, according to the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget and many other organizations, they've actually estimated that the 10-year cost of the legislation and executive actions President Trump signed into law was somewhere around $8.4 trillion. And again, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis pretty much confirmed that. They said $8 trillion, so they were pretty close. So when you have Republicans that are even saying that, I would put a little bit of credence to that with respect to then something that you had reported. And again, I'd have to look at that and see. But, again, Joe Biden didn't get us $8 trillion in debt. It was approved by Donald Trump, and it came in the form of legislation with costly executive actions largely offset by the expansion of tariffs. The only point that I try to make, Lauren, is that Donald Trump and Republicans in general in my lifetime have not been fiscally responsible, and they've gotten this country in far more debt than the Democrats have ever done. And Nikki Haley even talked about that.
I'll agree with you on that, especially during the Bush administration involving us in 2 wars that I was opposed to.
Yeah, as was I. They can claim faulty intelligence, but I think they wanted an excuse to get Osama, to get not Osama, to get Saddam Hussein. We found him in a hole with a pellet gun and a candy bar. And I believe a lot of people made a lot of money, including Dick Cheney and Halliburton, off of an ill-advised war that should have never happened. And agree. Under Barack Obama, we were able to get Osama bin Laden, who was the mastermind behind the 9/11 attacks, which is a good thing.
Right.
Well, Lauren, I appreciate your phone call, sir. Thank you very much.